Welcome to Beyond the Bottom Line
with Anna Letitia Cook.
Good afternoon and welcome to Beyond the Bottom Line. Today we're very lucky to have Thomas Clement-Bollée with us. He's the COO of VeryUP, and VeryUP is a really innovative and groundbreaking digital training organization, which you'll love to hear what they've done and what they've developed. Anyway, we're going to be talking about transforming organizations by making training more holistic, active, adaptive, individual, and fun. So welcome to the show, Thomas.
Thank you, Anna. I'm very pleased to talk with you today.
Thank you. So some of the questions I've got, obviously I'm not an expert in what your field involves, but I'm very much into trying to make things more holistic and people to enjoy it better. And training obviously can help our jobs be easier and simpler and more productive, but there can be different reactions between employers. You've got a lot of experience in this because you worked at a high level in consultancy firms before moving into the field of training development. So what would you say are the standard types of training that can be found at the moment, and what are the different formats that are available?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Thank you. I would say that the learning today is different from the learning 2 years ago and is different from the learning in 2 years. And the responsibility of training organizations is to reinvent and trying to keep reinventing the learning. I would say that the pandemic, because of it, of course, it implies an increase of the digitization and the e-learning formats.
Yep.
But within VeryUP, we have the conviction that the blended learning is the best way to improve the learning process. And you can learn better and faster when you mix modalities and formats.
Yep.
So it means that there is no limit of formats, and today you can have a good mix of peer-to-peer learning, social learning, e-learning, virtual classroom, trainings, virtual realities, and so on. And I think that it's not a question of one format, but the good mix of formats so that we can reach the pedagogical objectives and boost the learning process, I would say. And we have the responsibility to implement the best modalities and the best formats, but to invent the formats of tomorrow, because I do believe that it's always evolving.
Yes, yeah. And so I know for training, well, for me, training is boring, even if I am a trainer, because most of the time it's very focused on the theory of something. And I'm very much into the holistic way of doing things. And if you can make everybody happier and more productive, I think that's great. So I know progressive organizations, they're always looking for ways to help their employees. I know it's not everywhere in the world that thinks like that, and it's not even every type of company within a country. So people have got very different ideas. But the organizations that want to help employees be more productive and have less pressure and have a more positive environment, there's different ways of doing that. So the emphasis on health and fitness and wellness and good working relations between management and teams, but also through training. Because me, my old-fashioned attitude, training is boring, I hate it. But some of it now, particularly some of the things you've told me about yours, when it's well thought out, when it's good, it can be fun and interesting, and it's not just boring theory. So what differences can you see now with what employees are looking for and with what organizations are looking for, and the impact it has when the right type of training is offered?
Yes, I do understand your question, and you're right. The result is not the same when you have boring content and when you have fun. It's the same difference between something useless and something very useful.
Yeah.
So of course the impact is absolutely not the same. I would say that you can define two kind of impacts. The first ones are operational ones, and
Yep.
basically it's what companies are looking for when they try to implement a new training, because it has impact on operational KPIs. But
Yep.
you have as well the HR impacts, because when you work on management, well-being, even when you work on some art skills, you can have an impact on the HR KPIs,
Yeah.
which are very important. You can decrease the turnover because people feel very good in their environment,
Yep.
working environment. You can increase the engagement of
Yep.
employees, and of course, it's very important. So the impact is very important, and those are the two examples I can
Yep.
share with you. And just to finish, it implies, and you can understand that if we say that, it means that the training is not just something you can do whenever you want with no impact. It has to be at the heart of a good HR strategy, because we implement basically our trainings in all the organization, steering committees, top managers, and the people in the field, I would say.
Oh, right. I didn't realize that. Yeah, because I never think of steering committees and top management and people like that really doing training. But yeah, it's logical,
Yes,
I suppose, that they need to. Yeah.
It is the case, and for example, for some very strategic topics such as intelligence artificial and digitalization,
Yeah.
it begins with a very strong awareness of all the top managers of the organization,
Yeah.
so that they can have their team involved in this kind of topics, which is very strategic for the team. So yes, it is the case, and it implies to reach 100% of the organization, which is very impactful.
Yeah. Oh, my cat has come to say hello. The cat is
Hello.
joining the interview. So your company specializes in making training active and adaptive and individual and fun, which that already sounds good. Because I mean, I really am allergic to training. You know, I have this very old mentality that training has to be boring unless it's fitness or something like that. But for something more helpful for companies and employees, if you really can make training, you know, active, adaptive, individual, how do you do it?
Yeah, it's very important, and I think that it depends on your strategy and your what I call signature.
Yeah.
I would say that we have a strong pedagogical bias. I mean, we think that our clients can recognize our trainings, and if they participate to a VeryUP training, they can recognize that it's from VeryUP. And I think that for the training organization, it's very important to be recognized as providing a unique experience, but with the same pedagogical criteria. You talked about some of them. If I can explain a little bit more, we try to provide some, well, the format we want to provide are interactive. It means that when you participate to a training, you are not passive. You have some interaction with other people and with the coach, of course. I would say that it is fun. It has to be fun, because with emotions, you can deepen the knowledge, and it's very important to improve the way of learning
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
soft skills, hard skills, whatever. It's adaptive, and it's very important because a lot of training organizations do not make their trainings adaptive, and I think it's very important because we don't have the same experience. When you have a lesson with other people, you don't have the same experience, you don't have the same knowledge, you don't have the same track record, and the training you have needs to be adapted to your level of experience, and it's very important so that you do not have some boring moments, as you told
I know.
earlier. And I think it's very important.
Yeah.
And I would say the last one maybe is about social, because it's a very powerful lever when you learn, because you can learn from your colleagues or some coach within the company, in the company or outside the company. I think it's very inspiring to have some content shared with other people, and the social part is very important. So interactive, fun, adaptive, and social, and you have a wonderful training experience.
Yeah. It definitely sounds a lot better than most of the training I've ever done. So, but practically, how does it work? Give me some examples.
Yes, easy to say, but not easy to do it. Maybe I can share with you how we implemented this kind of theory in what we deliver.
Yes.
Because at the end, it's the result which counts. We designed a pedagogical signature within VeryUP, which is how you can recognize in 100% of what we deliver, whatever the deliverable, you will find those elements of the signature. And this signature is about elegance, which means the design is very important. Having some content quite short, not very long and boring content. To be short, to be elegant in the design. It's the first thing important. The second one, of course, is based on pedagogy and how you can take care of the learner during all the experience of learning, whatever the format and modality. The third point is about the high level of content, because even if it has to be fun, it has to be interactive. The content you provide to the people is key. Because at the end we talk about soft skills or hard skills, and we need to improve the knowledge of people. So the content needs to be very the selection of the content needs to be very good. The fourth point is about the storytelling within all the experience, because with the storytelling you work on emotions, and with emotions you improve the deepen of the knowledge, I would say. And the last element, very important, is about the immersion. The example you give to the learners need to be operational. If it's absolutely out of nowhere, if it's out of the scope, if you don't know how it can be useful for you in your day-to-day work, it will be useless. So the immersive is how you can, when you design a learning experience, you think about the learner and what is important for them in their day-to-day life, working life, I would say.
Okay.
So that's the 5 elements you can have in our signature, and it's very important. And then that's what we upskill our team of design instructional designer within VeryUP. So everyone is aware of this signature, and in 100% of the deliverables, you can find those elements.
Yeah.
And we have in parallel an intern lab to leveraging on technological innovation and pedagogical innovation to inspire our team in intern and our clients.
Yeah.
And with this signature and a strong level of innovation in every project we have, but not every project, but some of the projects. Let's say it. It works. I mean, you can have some very nice, fun and engaging learning experiences.
Yeah. So, okay, give me pretend I am doing one of your trainings.
Yeah.
Where will I go? Will I do it on my computer? Will I do it in an office? What will I see? Just give me an idea.
Yeah. Well, it can be everything. It will be with VeryUP a mix of, for example, you will receive. Well, it will last depending on the project and the skills you're focused on. It will last between 15 days and sometimes 1 year if it's a very strong management program, you know. And it will begin with a digital invitation, which means you will receive an email and you will click on the link and you will discover your training program. To inform you what will be the different formats, what are the objectives of this program, and to explain what will be in detail your training. And then you can have, for example, a virtual classroom to begin and to think about 1 or 2 pedagogical objectives. Then you can have an e-learning, then on the job challenge, and so on. And it can be very you can have a lot of different ways of learning. We call it a co-design. We try to design those experiences with our clients at the beginning of the project. We define all the objectives of the project, and with the experts and with our experts, we define what would be the training path, and then we produce it. And it can be a lot of different modalities, a lot of different formats. The most important thing to understand is that the format is not the finality, you know. It's not a way to reach an objective. So depending on the objectives, you can have a lot of different formats. Just have a lot of imagination with our design.
Can you do things like sort of almost like video games where you've got dancing around and cartoons and crazy things like that?
Yes, you can have interactive videos in which you are the hero, and depending on your choices, you have different videos and so on. It can be a virtual reality experience. You are in a plant and you have a lot of
like this 3D glasses lock, and you're actually there.
Exactly. So
really?
After it depends on what are the objectives and what kind of skills you want to improve. Soft skills, hard skills, and so on. And we can do whatever you want. Just the most important thing is to be okay and to define very well what are the objectives you want to reach.
Because for me because my big focus is holistic and well-being and, you know, all of that. So I'm always looking for something that's going to make people feel good and feel positive and not feel pressure. So that's why I look for the fun in things.
Yes, you're right. But when you think about the goal of learning, even if it's hard skilled, it's more understandable if it's based on soft skills or management, because when you work on management, you work on the well-being of the teams. it has to be. I
yes,
hope
otherwise it doesn't work.
for the managers. So
Yeah.
it's easy to understand it. But even for the art skills, if you work on the art skills, people feel better in their day-to-day working, in a certain way. And you work on the well-being of the people, to feel more comfortable with your work, with what you have to do.
Yes, yeah. Because I mean, at the moment, I'm doing a training, or I'm doing 2 or 3 different types of training for part of the wellness side of my business. And yeah, it's something I really want to do, but it's very medical. And so it's really a lot of theory. And I really don't do theory well. Theory is not my favorite thing. However, I mean, one thing, I would say it's still a very traditional way of doing things, because there's a great big textbook that I have to go through. But there's a lot of videos, which at least, I've got someone chattering away about it. So it's slightly better. And then I have to do various scenarios and case studies and blah, 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 which that's way better than the types of trainings I used to do before. But for me, it's still not fun. So
yes, I understand what you're talking about, and I would say that it's really the value we can bring in a project, because I would say that in 90% of the case, our clients, they bring us a lot of content, and they say, we have a lot of experts, we have write a lot of things, we have 100 slides of the content, but it's boring. It's 4 days trainings, and people just don't want to do it, fall asleep, and so on. It's a nightmare, and so on. And our job is to take this content with the experts. We never do it alone. It's always a collaboration with some experts. But our expertise is about pedagogy and how we transform a content to be fun. If you have a lot of content, you can divide it, and you can have one game on a part of the content. Then you can have an exercise on the other part of the content, and then you can have to work on experiences and to share experience with other people with your colleagues and so on. So it's the way we can divide a strong and boring content into different parts and fun parts, so that you can practice, you can share, you can understand in a fun way, it's easy to say it, but it's not easy to do it. And that's the value those kind of training organization can bring to the client. And I think it means a lot, because find a lot of expertise in all the business, you can find it. Find a lot of different content, you can have it, and they have it. They have the theory, but between what you have to do and the theory, and how you change the behaviors, how you upskill people, it's very complicated. And I think that is the value we can bring to the different organization.
Oh, it sounds great, because already if you're doing a lot of different things and you're constantly changing from one thing to another, it keeps your brain alert. It keeps your creativity active. So emotionally, it's more interesting, and you find it more challenging, but I don't mean challenging difficult, challenging fun.
In a good way.
You want to dive in and see what's next. It's like the element of discovery and exploration.
And to be honest, the feedback we have from our clients who discover for the first time this kind of learning, the reaction is well, not all the reaction, but some of the reaction are very, very nice. They say, I've never lived a training like this. I can finally have a training and be comfortable with it, and want to be part of it. So I think it's our responsibility to explain that there are other ways to train and funny ways to learn. And it's important, because business are evolving. The skills of in 10 years you will have different businesses, different jobs, new jobs, and we need to keep working on those new skills of tomorrow. So it's very important, I think, for well, it has a social impact because of that, I think.
And you said that you get you've had some very positive feedback. Do you get feedback, similar feedback from the organizations and the people doing the training, or what do they say? What's the different focus they have?
Yeah, we have both, of course. I would say that for the client part, we do not have a lot of new clients, which is a good sign for us, because when they work with us, they want to keep working with us.
Yes.
Well, if we talk about some KPIs in learning, you have 3 KPIs which are quite important. The first one is the percentage of people finishing a training.
Yeah.
I would say that it's if you reach around 60%,
you're doing well.
Yes, you're doing well.
Yeah.
And we are more than 70% within VeryUP, sometimes 80 and more than 80%, which is quite important.
That's enormous. That's a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, but it's well, it's not a surprise when you when you know that a lot of training organizations have old ways of doing training, and if it's the case, a lot of people want to stop the training. So that's the first KPI, very important. It's quite high for us. The second one is, of course, learner satisfactions. And at the end of each training, we have I don't know to say it. Sorry.
Oh, you want to get the feedback from the people who've actually done it.
Yes, absolutely.
Participant feedback. That's the word I'm looking for. Yes.
and well, the feedback is very good. We have some qualitative and quantitative feedback, and it's always, well, almost very good because of all we talked about, because of it's fun, it's engaging, it's interactive, and so on. And the last KPI, which is very, very good, is the NPS, Net Promoted Score.
Yes.
Which is a marketing KPI. And we are at 80. You can have between 100 and minus 100. And we are at 80, sorry, which is pretty high. Just for the example, Apple, the NPS of Apple is 89, which is very, very good, So being at 80 is quite a good
good
score
compliment. Well done.
So yes, I would say that people and organizations, they really appreciate our way of doing, and we are not alone. It's not only VeryUP, but learning organization which try to invent and reinvent the training experiences, giving a lot of different formats, interactive, fun, and so on. It's okay. It works because people wants to have some living experience and fun experience. And
fun is always better for anything, whatever it is, because all of you becomes involved. But what impact do you see on the working environment when you've got organizations that are using your type of training? Because obviously it's helping their employees learn. So presumably it's going to have other positive effects on the working environment.
Yes. About the working environment, I would say that in every case, it has an impact, because if you feel better in your work, in your skills, you feel better at work. But I would say that sometimes we have some typical mission based on the working environment, and it's easy to have an impact on it. And when it's not the case, I would say that when we address some management projects, of course, there is always an impact on the working environment and well-being of the people, because it's the basis of management. And even when we work on hard skills, on very technical skills, I believe that we have an impact on the well-being of the people, because when you feel more comfortable with your job, it's okay when you can share some experiences, some knowledge with people. When you have peer-to-peer learning, it's a good organization and of working, and it implies an increase of your well-being in all the case.
I think positivity brings productivity, because if people are feeling more positive, more dynamic, more interested, and have more confidence and less stress, it's just natural that they become more productive, which must please the employers a lot. So,
yes.
Okay, my last question for you. Any piece of wisdom or key strategy that you think we should keep in mind that's going to help us going forward?
I don't know if it's strategy or wisdom, maybe two thoughts to share with you. The first one is, it begins to be the case, but it's not always the case. But I hope that the training in general will be more and more part of the HR director strategy, because it's very important, as we talked, the impact on operational KPIs and HR KPIs, turnover and so on are very huge. So I hope that the training will be very reinforced in the HR strategy. And the second thought is about the project management in general. I hope that I believe that it needs to be professionalized, because as you talked, I've been consultant within 10 years, and I do know the project management implementation. And it's you can write processes, you can define organization, you can calculate KPIs, but if people don't change at the end, it is useless. And I would say that maybe the project management implementation could be reinforced and professionalized with some training expertises. I think it would be very important and improve the operational impact of a lot of projects. I hope it will be the case. And if it's not, I think that a lot of projects, if you don't change people, if you do not change the behaviors and skills, it's a waste of time.
Waste of time, waste of energy, and a waste of talent, basically, because people could do so much more. I love those strategies. I think they're great, particularly with project management, because I know reinventing that and getting a new vision on that, it would really make such a difference for everybody. So, okay, well, Thomas, thank you very much for joining us here on Beyond the Bottom Line.
Thank you, Anna.
It's been very, very interesting, and I shall approach training with a completely new vision.
Thank you very much for your invitation. It has been a pleasure for me to talk about all of this.
Lovely, thank you. Thank you everyone for watching and for listening. You've been listening to Thomas Clement-Bollée. Do go online. There's going to be links on the page about where you can see what he does, or you can see more about training. So have a look, click the links, and see you again next week. Bye.